Welcome back to Mission Reboot. Today we're having a conversation around managing digital use. What we know is, we all use technology. The question is, are we overusing it? And so let's, kind of dig in a little bit. And Lauren, I'm going to let you take it away.
Absolutely. Well, hello, everybody. So this conversation, I think it's kind of hard, and I'll go back and forth with you guys as people who have worked through kind of how you go from no tech to a McDonald's menu is tech. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think that and even for folks who have tablets, the technology you have access to is controlled, right? So in your reentry, when you come home, you are responsible for managing the entire portfolio of things you could do, right? And so for someone who goes from that like extreme, well, let me ask you this. Did you guys have experiences coming home and saying like, I want all the tech, and then you became addicted? Was there any addiction to technology?
I think that's where I've learned I have an addictive personality is with tech.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even before I went to prison, my first time we got the internet in the house, I stayed up for almost 24 hours.
Really?
She binged the World Wide Web.
Yeah, I was like,
wow.
I got to the end of the web in 24 hours.
At the end of the web, wow.
No, I was up because having that level of access of information at one time, and I mean, this was, dial up, but it was just amazing. I realized then how much I really love information.
Yeah.
And I love access to technology. And, even prior to incarceration, I used to teach about the digital divide. Lauren had a
Palm Pilot in middle school.
Because I love technology so much because I knew technology was going to be a game changer. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a part of your future. So I was sliding it into her life when she was in third and fourth grade.
Yeah.
Wow. She wasn't overly using the Palm
I literally
Pilot.
was in middle school. I didn't have much to schedule.
Yeah,
she didn't take me to.
Yeah,
so I can drive, right?
Yeah. So when I was going to prison, I started having remorse. Like, oh my God, I'm going to be away from technology.
Really?
So when Mom went in, the iPhone came out, and
days later,
literally. So she missed it by
after you went.
After she went, literally 3 days later, the first gen iPhone came out.
Haters.
And she was like, "What?" And she would say to me, okay, I just need to send me a tweet. Like literally one of our emails was like, I don't understand the concept of Twitter. Like, what are people typing? What are people saying?
And then I was like, but where is it going? And what do you mean it's going into the atmosphere? She just couldn't wrap her mind around it.
And I'm like, I don't even know how to. I'm like, do I take a screenshot of the tweet?
Like, what's interesting is I grieved technology.
She really
while I was
did
in prison.
She really did.
So interesting.
She really did.
I did. I was grieving because I was like, because again, she had a Palm Pilot. I was teaching about the digital divide and helping young people to understand a moment. And then I was in prison saying, oh my God, I'm on the other side of what I was trying to help other people. And because I couldn't keep up, I had to at some point, and when I say grieve, I know we were laughing about it. It's me being honest. I was like, okay, you just have to recognize you're disconnected and you're going to be disconnected.
Yeah.
And she also wanted to plug back in.
And I knew that technology was going to be my own personal game changer. So there's probably 10, 15 minutes after I leave prison, there's a picture of me. What do I have in my hand?
Scrolling.
An iPad.
Really?
But then she also got overwhelmed.
Yeah. Then I was like, all that
like
scrolling.
Within 5 minutes, she was like, okay, take it. Because what happened was, she said, I want to see it. So we have when I do presentations, one of our pictures is we took a picture of Mom in the car driving away from Alderson Federal Prison Camp, scrolling on a touch screen for the first time.
Jeez.
And she was both, and I actually remember that being in the car with her. She was both excited and overwhelmed.
Oh, because at the same time, then an iPhone was ringing, and
it was,
and a lot of people who felt like I needed to talk to them right in that moment. It was like, so and so's calling you, so and so's. I'm like, okay, answer the phone. All right. Then finally, I was just like,
one device does everything.
I only get 10 minutes a day.
This is so funny because when I came home, I got into a vehicle and the design of the doors had kind of changed, and it had like this circular handle that was kind of like embedded like seamlessly into the door.
What kind of car was that?
It was a Jeep.
Huh.
Yeah, and I literally didn't know how to open the door.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I'm struggling to open a door and she's over here scrolling on the iPad,
Yeah.
it's like, Dang.
Josh is like, I didn't have these issues.
Some of us are faster than others. So,
but you now run a tech company and you build websites.
the irony.
So how did you go from I can't get into a Jeep to
or I couldn't get out? That was scarier. Getting in's okay, but then it's like I'm locked up again.
Josh
I thought I just
get
left.
me out the Jeep. Okay, Josh, focus. Now help me understand how you went from that to you build tech. Like, so did you ever have a moment where you became tech obsessed, or did you actually manage your tech integration well?
I actually think the pathway to this was through professional career and going through, I think, a highly competitive education and then getting into, I spent a little bit of time on Wall Street doing things and investing in tech companies. And then you get to kind of the cutting edge of what isn't even on the market yet, because you're trying to invest in a company that's developing technology. And so you get and then you start using tools that some of these companies are, so you get familiar. And that's when I kind of developed an advantage relative to the average person, I think. And then recognizing,
whether they went to prison or not.
They went to prison or not. And now, we can automate this. I can actually build a piece of technology that does these processes that somebody else at another company is doing manually. And now there's cost efficiencies, there's savings.
Feel like you're a tech expert now.
Yeah, I would
just own it. You're a tech expert now. Yes. And so, what I think what you're
saying do it for a living. That's how I make money.
Well, we hope you're an expert, at least to your clients. Right?
Yes, these are both clients.
And also, we're now a client. So, but it sounds like your reentry process made it where you didn't feel overwhelmed by tech right away. Did you?
Not immediately, but when I then eventually got a computer, because I knew I had to be connected. And that's when I got overwhelmed, because as we've talked about previously, you get on the social media platforms and then it's like, all these people have access to you and they start kind of like pulling at you. And then now there's even like surrogates for that, where the platform itself says, you're not connected enough to people. We're going to show you a bunch of stuff.
More people.
That even if you don't know anybody, you can get hooked in on this. And the reason this is important is because these platforms generate their revenue through advertisements the majority of the time. Which means the longer you can be engaged on the platform, the more ads you will likely see. And if you see 3 ads instead of 2, they get more money for that. So they want you on the platforms as long as possible and engaged as long as possible. And that's where it becomes addictive, because they're trying to crack kind of your psychology code and say, what's addictive for Lauren?
Yeah.
What's addictive for Teresa? So we can keep them on there as long as possible.
See, Josh got us there. So here's what I was hoping we'd get to is there is no way around digital inclusion and tech involvement anymore, just because that's just how life is. So when people come home, they're coming home into a tech tsunami.
Yeah, the ocean of technology.
Right. Like there are, what kind of phone are you going to get? Where are you going to get access to the internet? What apps are you going to use? You have to go look for a job. Everything is relying on tech. You have to go pay to park a car. You need to, everything is tech. And I think
money is becoming obsolete.
Right? And like cash, everything, you move money. And so I think one of the things.
Or old fashioned
100%
money.
Yeah, like literally. Some people are like, no cash.
Dollars and coins.
And so I think in managing that, if you guys have maybe 1 or 2 pieces of advice before we close out around knowing that you have to do something, also knowing it's designed for you to get addicted to doing it, right? Right? It's designed for you to use it and get addicted to it. Then what would you suggest to someone who has to manage it, especially when you're managing everything else in reentry?
Yeah,
right.
Well, you figured this out 30 minutes after release.
Yeah, and I just wanted access. No.
She didn't manage
I hadn't figured anything out at that point. I was like, I just want to see it again. I miss technology. I miss you. That's all I was.
By the way, that's so informative. Like, as just learning more about you.
Yeah, you said something that was informative for me too. But for me, I think it's be intentional about using it and have a plan. Like I'm all about being intentional, have a plan, and then also at some point to hit pause and just think, is this technology serving me? How is it making me feel? because sometimes if you overuse it, it can make you feel bad. If you're using it and seeing what other people are doing, you're judging yourself, all of that stuff. Like, take your feelings into consideration, reboot, reassess, and then reboot, come up with another plan, and, let it be iterative. Just like until you get to the right flow. And now a lot of the technology has settings. Maximize those settings. Pull back a little bit. Oh, I'm turning it off at this time. You don't need to be beeped all night long while you're supposed to be sleeping. Those type of things.
Yeah.
Josh, what's...
This may be a little surprising, but other than LinkedIn and maybe an account or two that I have forgotten how to log into, I do not have a lot of I don't have accounts on a lot of these platforms.
Makes sense.
Completely deleted.
For the record, that's not surprising.
It's not surprising at all
because we know you, Josh.
I've deleted my presence. I don't have these apps. I don't have these platforms because I understand how they work and I understand what they're designed to do. And I don't want somebody else to have that control over me or exercise that influence over me in my life. And so if I'm not in control of it and I'm the product that you're selling to somebody, I'm out.
What's interesting is, so on that, my thing that I would offer to people was actually going to be when you said the feeling, and it's probably a combination between the two, which is I delete liberally. Right. Like, so I like triage and clean my feed. So what, like when we say feed, if you're on like Facebook or Instagram or any of these, the things that you see, it's called your like your news feed. And so if there is a post that I don't like, I either mute or delete. Yeah. And I think that and because then it speaks to the feeling and don't also make it where you're trying to understand, well, why does it make you feel bad? It doesn't matter. Like if something doesn't feel good, you are in control. So I think that my advice would be a combination of yours, which is platforms have a feeling. Twitter or X feels one way, LinkedIn feels a way, Facebook feels a way, Instagram feels a way. Also, to Josh's point, don't feel the need to be everywhere. Yeah. You literally aren't getting paid to be everywhere, so you don't have to be on all these platforms.
Unless you are being paid.
Unless you are being paid. And there's an episode on influencing in a second. Yeah. And then also you are in control. And don't question why something doesn't feel good. Just delete it. And then, stay in control of your engagement and your use.
All right. Thank you for this episode of Mission Reboot. We hope it was helpful.